But the news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury. And it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
The WNBA is in a state of emergency. Just weeks after Caitlin Clark's injury, the league's TV ratings have officially collapsed, plummeting by over 50%. Her own team, the Indiana Fever, is in even worse shape, with viewership crashing by a staggering 53%. This wasn't just a dip, it was a total system failure. Exposing a brutal truth the league tried to ignore. Their entire newfound fame was built on the back of one person, and now that she's gone, the house of cards is coming down. The numbers are screaming a truth that the front office can no longer hide.
Is there any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership.
Before Clark's injury, the WNBA was the main event. It was the talk of every sports show, the top trend on social media, and the hottest ticket in town. Games were selling out, ESPN was running highlights on a loop, and people who had never watched a game in their lives were suddenly experts on the pick and roll. It was a golden era, a pivotal moment that was supposed to launch the league into the mainstream for good.
A shocker. Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle Casey found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
The Fever's game against the Minnesota Lynx pulled in over 1.2 million viewers, a number that would have been a fantasy just a year ago, but the moment Clark was sidelined, that golden era vanished into thin air. It was as if millions of viewers simultaneously picked up their remotes and changed the channel, revealing a brutal truth. People weren't tuning in for the WNBA, they were tuning in for Caitlin Clark. The league's programming has become a digital ghost town, a place where the echo of past excitement is the only thing left.
Think about Caitlin Clark. The operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever and their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
The Caitlin Clark effect wasn't just a digital phenomenon. It was a physical one that brought unprecedented energy to arenas across the country. For the first time, WNBA games had the electric buzz of major sporting events. Fans lined up hours before tip-off, merchandise was flying off the shelves, and the roar of the crowd was deafening. But without her on the court, those same arenas have become eerily quiet.
The NBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars for the record ratings Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to like.
The vibrant energy has been replaced by the hollow echo of squeaking sneakers on a court, with swaths of empty upper-deck chairs serving as silent witnesses to the collapse. The frenzied media scrums have been replaced by a handful of local reporters. This isn't just a ratings problem anymore, it's an attendance crisis. While fans are voting with their remotes from home, they're also voting with their feet by staying away, and it all leads to the one person who is supposed to be in charge of this ship.
The WNBA has a problem. And that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are eye-pop.
All eyes are now turning to WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, whose leadership during this crisis has been nothing short of baffling. While the league is hemorrhaging viewers, fans, and credibility, she continues to give interviews talking about growth and momentum. It's the equivalent of the captain of the Titanic boasting about the ship's beautiful underwater design, while passengers are scrambling for lifeboats. This level of public denial has become an art form.
That's not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Cathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off. Can you guys, just string them along a little bit more? We want to get these ratings back up.
She's become a master of corporate PR speak, using empty phrases like examining our protocols and player health is a priority while the entire theater is actively on fire. Fans see right through it. They aren't looking for polished statements written by a crisis management team. They're looking for accountability for the absolute chaos that has been allowed to unfold on the court.
At Indiana, against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again. And over time, it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do.
And that chaos has a name: officiating. This season, the referees have performed with such staggering inconsistency that it feels like they're making up the rules as they go along. But the biggest failure, the one that led directly to this crisis, has been their inability, or worse, their unwillingness, to protect the league's most valuable asset. From the very first game, Caitlin Clark had a target on her back.
Caitlin Clark thing, man. I mean, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing what you guys have done. And then people are catching on to your tactics. You got the people on Twitter catching on to your tactics. Like, look at this right here. Look at this right here. They said ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because Caitlin Clark.
She was treated less like a generational superstar and more like a human crash test dummy, absorbing cheap shots, hip checks, and flagrant fouls while the officials simply swallowed their whistles. It was a clear strategy of attrition from her opponents, and the league let it happen. It's no wonder she ended up injured. The real shock is that it didn't happen sooner. This wasn't just a few missed calls. It was a pattern, a dirty secret unfolding in plain sight that suggested the league was either grossly incompetent or worse, complicit in letting its biggest star take a beating. What's truly stunning is that other professional leagues have already written the blueprint on how to avoid this exact disaster. Just look at the NFL. The league understands, with absolute clarity, that its star quarterbacks are its golden geese. If a defender so much as breathes too hard on Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady, flags fly from every direction faster than you can say roughing the passer. The NFL goes to extraordinary lengths to protect its stars because it understands a simple business principle: no stars, no show. The WNBA was handed a once-in-a-generation talent, a player single-handedly rewriting their record books, and they stood by and watched as she was body-checked into the scorer's table. The referees would just shrug and say, "Play on." This wasn't just bad luck. It was a catastrophic failure of asset management, a conscious decision to let their billion-dollar lottery ticket get shredded right in front of the entire world. As the on-court product deteriorated, the league's social media accounts became a bizarre case study in delusion. While fans were flooding forums with outrage over the officiating and the state of the league, the official WNBA channels kept posting generic hype content, tweeting things like, "Get ready for another thrilling night of WNBA action." The comment sections, however, tell the real story. They have become a digital war zone, a wasteland of mockery filled with memes of tumbleweeds rolling across empty seats, and fans genuinely asking, "Are you watching the same league we are?" When your own marketing becomes a punchline for your disillusioned fanbase, you have a fundamental problem. The disconnect between the league's official narrative and the fans' reality has become a canyon, and it leaves everyone wondering if the people in charge have any idea what's actually going on. This whole disaster leaves the WNBA at a critical crossroads, facing a crisis entirely of its own making. The ratings collapse wasn't an accident. It was the predictable symptom of a much deeper disease. It was the result of a league that put all of its eggs in one basket and then refused to protect that basket. It was the result of leadership that chose denial over action and officiating that prioritized physicality over the safety of its brightest star. The Caitlin Clark phenomenon could have been the start of a new, prosperous era for the WNBA. Instead, it might be remembered as the golden opportunity that was completely and utterly fumbled. The question now is not just whether they can recover, but whether this collapse was a fatal blow or a final brutal warning sign, a lesson that the league can either learn from or be permanently destroyed by.